It's time for Batman. Yeah, I know, another superhero video. Look, these movies are really easy to dissect, and they're really easy to make. So I make them. Really quick, ground rules on how I pick these movies. I watched every theatrical film with some form of the Dark Knight's name in the title. And yes, I intentionally added the second one so I didn't have to watch either of the Justice League films. Alright, let's go.
Holy superlatives, Batman!
Fact. I don't always watch the movies in order. In some of these marathons, it's hard to find all of the movies, so it's just easier to watch them out of order. So I literally just watched it before writing this. So, holy feature film, Batman! I don't know what I just watched. It's safe to say that this is not a Batman movie. Actually, it's safe to say that this isn't even really a movie. This is a celebration of camp, and it is not an extreme statement to say that this film turns campiness into an art form.
I can explain. Let me explain.
The Joker, the Riddler, the Catwoman, and the Penguin have teamed up, which is revealed in one of the most masterfully written scenes in the history of film.
Pretty fishy what happened to me on that ladder.
You mean where there's a fish, there could be a penguin?
But wait! It happened at sea. See? C for Catwoman!
As the United Underworld, they plan to take over the world. Their plan is to sneak into a meeting of the UN and dehydrate the members, then kidnap them and hold them for ransom. Not like dehydrate them as like not give them water, as in like turn them into rocks or something. That was the plot of not only a Batman movie, but the first Batman movie. Now, it may sound like I'm crapping on this movie, but I freaking loved it. This movie is either super stupid or smarter than Albert Einstein. Either way, it's absolutely hysterical. In what other movie does Batman have a shark bite his leg, that he uses shark repellent on it and it promptly explodes? Or Batman run around a pier and try to dispose of a bomb and then it explodes? Or Adam West attempt to pimp as hard as Sean Connery and then explode? No, I'm just kidding, that doesn't happen. Well, actually, he does try to pimp as hard as Sean Connery, but he fails. This movie is an 11 out of 10 cinematic masterpiece. Go watch it on Hulu right now. Actually, I don't know if it's on Hulu right now. It might not be by the time this video pops up. I don't know. Just go watch it.
Like that time with the parade and the Prince music.
Hey, quiet!
In the grand scheme of Batman movies, this is pretty darn good. Really weird, but pretty darn good. The standout performance in this film is definitely Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Who would have seen that coming? Is it an accurate representation of the Joker? No, not really. But it is still a very entertaining performance, and it is very unique as far as the Joker goes. Now everyone just tries to out Joker Heath Ledger by just being Heath Ledger. I think there's a nice balance between the campiness that has defined Batman media, comics notwithstanding, since Adam West. It is so much fun to watch, and it really treads the line between horrifying and hilarious. The production design in this film definitely influences it. It is the most unique version of Gotham, not really based on any actual city and just being purely creative. Tim Burton's style really helps this film stand out from other versions of Batman. I think Michael Keaton is a pretty good Bruce Wayne, but Batman is weird in this one.
I'm Batman.
Actually, this movie is just weird. The Joker's plan is to murder people with cosmetics. The Joker is well known for the Joker toxin, which kills most people. But the Joker toxin isn't cosmetics. It's a toxin in the Joker's blood that gives him a facial deformity. It's just really weird, and sadly it sets a precedent among this quadrilogy. Batman can't turn his head in this movie, and that lasts almost 20 years. It isn't until The Dark Knight that the Batman can turn his head. It's so weird. He has to move his whole body to look around. Another thing that stands out from this one is the lack of classic Batman characters. You probably don't remember, but Billy D. Williams was Harvey Dent in this movie. And then he disappears in Batman Returns, and they replace him with Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. Harvey Dent is pretty important to Batman, and Billy does a nice job. He's just not in the movie much. Jim Gordon is a background character in these movies. He might as well be an unnamed cop. Why do they have him in the movie if he isn't going to be Jim Gordon? But honestly, the inaccuracy and the weird stuff can be excused by the fact that this was the first true blockbuster superhero movie and the first serious-ish Batman movie. So all in all, this is a pretty darn good movie.
I hope you don't mind if I ask you a question.
A little baby pigeon.
This movie is a foretelling of things to come in this series, but it's still pretty good. Unironically, Batman 1989 is a better movie, but I think I enjoyed Batman Returns more. There's just so much crazy awesome stuff in this movie. First, the villains. Michelle Pfeiffer is a passable Catwoman. I don't know what people before the Nolan trilogy were doing with her. She doesn't have 9 lives or weird cat powers. Seriously, in Batman Returns, she gets cat superpowers by falling off a building, dying, and then getting licked and revived by cats? You're seeing the footage right now. That's what's happening. I guess it's nice that Batman isn't way older than her. I don't know. Next, the Penguin. Holy crap. Danny DeVito's The Penguin is really funny. Everything about this character is super over the top and crazy insane. It's amazing how lucky we got with the Penguin in this movie. In the Joel Schumacher entries, Penguin would have been this silly little kid stuff that's just super duper annoying. And this movie is surprisingly gory, especially with the Penguin. There's a scene where the Penguin bites off some guy's nose, just a guy on his campaign team. Now to the story. This is where my problems lie. So for the first 2/3 of the movie, everything is great. This movie is about getting the Penguin elected as mayor after the mayoral election.
Elections happen in November. Is this not late December?
Don't worry about it.
Just roll with it. Anyway, the story is fine until the final act. Here's the problem. At the beginning of the final act, Batman ruins the Penguin's last campaign speech by hacking the sound system and playing the recording he took of the Penguin earlier in the movie. And then the Penguin's mayoral campaign fails. And because there are 40 minutes left and the Penguin's plan has already failed, the rest of the movie just feels like Batman backing the Penguin further and further into a corner. The first 2/3 of the movie, you feel like the Penguin will win. His plan is going flawlessly. Then the aforementioned scene happens, and the rest of the movie, it feels like Penguin is grasping at straws. Oh no, the Penguins with rockets strapped to the backs are invading the city. Oh, Batman jammed their signal. Oh no, the Penguin has electricity or something. Oh, Batman is invincible to lightning, I guess. Catwoman shows up at one point to die. It's kind of funny. The movies in this series get more and more expensive and they look worse and worse. I know it sounds like I'm trashing this movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. If it just stuck the ending a little better, I would have liked it better than the original. But as is, it's pretty good.
You missed.
The world is a total mess. The world is a mess, David.
This chunk of the video is not scripted because I just want to get recording done. I just watched Batman Mask of the Phantasm. It is the last Batman movie for me to watch. I am going to rewatch a couple of the other ones, but this is the last new one for me to watch. It was pretty good. It wasn't anything super special. The animation was, it was good looking, but it wasn't revolutionary. It still kind of looked like just the TV show, just longer. And for the most part, I just thought it was like an episode of the TV show, and not one of the super awesome good ones, just one of the normal ones. And you know what? That's all it really had to be. I also watched Morbius today, and Morbius has like one scene where you see really any blood. And this Batman movie for children has more blood in it than a PG-13 horror movie, which just shows you that PG-13 horror movies doesn't work. Anyway, the best part of the movie was obviously Mark Hamill as the Joker. I was almost going to turn it off and just make this my impression of it, but then he showed up and I was like, all right, I'm watching the whole movie. And honestly, I don't know why I would have quit. It's not even 90 minutes. It's 75. It's not very long. If you're a fan of the animated series, you'll probably enjoy this. But I'm not sure you'll find a lot of enjoyment out of it if you're not a fan of the animated series or a mega fan of Batman. So if you are a fan, then go watch it. But if not, just don't bother.
This is like my one social interaction of the month, and you're kind of ruining it for me.
Batman for Never is the point where this series lost it. Just some info about the behind the scenes of all this. When Batman Returns came out, there was a lot of backlash about the extreme amounts of gore despite its PG-13 rating. So the studio decided to hire a toy company to basically design this movie. Tim Burton left, and Michael Keaton as well. And then Joel Mocker enters the scene and tries to emulate the Adam West Batman. So they took a character that is definitely more for adults and older kids and made it for toddlers. So we're back at square one. Thanks for that, guys. Anyway, this movie sucks. Val Kilmer cannot hack it as Bruce Wayne or Batman. He isn't good as either. He's, I'm not sure how to say this, the wrong kind of jerk. Everything about Kilmer makes you think this guy's a D-bag, and that works for Iceman from Top Gun, not for Bruce Wayne. Tommy Lee Jones is freaking awful as Two-Face. I would say that Billy D. Williams would do better, but I have no idea how you would fit him into this character. Jim Carrey is fine, but he doesn't save the movie. This movie has Nicole Kidman in it, and all I remember her doing is lusting after Batman. The extreme levels of camp present in this movie don't work like in Batman the movie. The predecessors are trying to be dark and gritty with various success, but this one tries to be intentionally campy and fails spectacularly. The movie literally opens with this.
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
Now, ironically, there's a lot to enjoy here. At times, the effects are hilariously bad, the writing is atrocious, and every actor is either total garbage or entertaining as heck. So, in this movie, Two-Face teams up with the Riddler to suck all the brain power out of Gotham, because of course we are. Not a single Batman movie in the last 20 years would even consider a plotline like this. Batman adopts Robin after Two-Face kills his parents, which brings up something I don't like about earlier Batman stuff. There's no gangs. So many good Batman comics, including the awesome Batman show from the 90s, have pitted him up against the gangs of Gotham. And it's not until Batman Begins that we finally see some gangs. So, in the end, he kidnaps Robin and Nicole Kidman and then makes Batman choose between them. And it's stupid because Batman saves them both by being an awesome Batman. And then at the end, there's a weird Jim Carrey gag that's supposed to make you laugh. It's stupid. It's something to be said that as a kid, I knew that the Nolan trilogy were all in the same series, but I didn't know that these were. It probably helped to have the same actors in all the movies, but what do I know? There's no through line for these movies. Even between the two Schumacher Batman films, the visual style changes so much. But seriously, this movie is really freaking bad. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone unless you want a terrible movie, and even then, I would suggest the next one.
The Iceman cometh!
Batman and Robin is a cinematic masterpiece in every form of the word. Its production design, shot composition, and performances are all Oscar-worthy, but even more so is its writing. Batman and Robin was a breath of fresh air into what was a deteriorating series and character. This is a phenomenal film that deserves accolades by the dozens and should garner many fans.
Strike that. Reverse it. This way, please.
Enough trolling, you guys. This movie is mind-bogglingly bad. The story is beyond nonsensical. Mr. Freeze wants to turn the planet into ice or something, and Poison Ivy is trying to seduce Batman and Robin to help save plants or something. Batman and Robin are having some kind of struggle over Batman being too protective of Robin, even though Batman is right every single time. Batgirl sneaks out to ride motorcycles with Coolio. Batman seems to be dying and nobody seems to be noticing. There's Smexy Orangutan Men.
Snap back to reality.
First, I want to direct your attention to the fact that George Clooney was Batman. Now, he did it for money, which I don't blame him. And he has said many times that it is a mistake. But seriously, he really sucks. He doesn't look or sound the part in any way, shape, or form.
This is why Superman works alone. The cuss am I? Are you cussing with me?
No, you cussing with me? Don't cuss and point.
You're gonna cuss with somebody. You're not gonna cuss with me, you little cuss.
Me.
Robin is really bad too. I was getting Hayden Christensen flashbacks. But he was bad in the last one, so it's stupid to think that this would be any better. Actually, there's no point in going over the bad performances because they were all bad except two. Uma Thurman and Arnold Schwarzenegger were absolutely hysterical. Now, I found that the general consensus is that Arnold is really bad too, but maybe I'm just biased towards him because I thought he was hilarious.
I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your pleas of mercy. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! I hate when people talk during the movie.
Dude. Uncool.
Uma Thurman was off the walls. Now, the performance was ridiculous and didn't make much sense, but I don't think it matters. It was entertaining. The production design of this movie simultaneously makes you want to bleach your eyes and wear sunglasses. The effects, costumes, and shot composition are so ugly, it's sad. Now, I do want to talk about the Alfred is dying plotline because it's kind of messed up. Batgirl is Alfred's niece or something, and she goes to live at Wayne Manor. And she finds out that Alfred is dying and gets mad at Bruce because he isn't doing anything. And so Bruce tries to say that Alfred loves being the Battler so much that he will die on the job. What? Alright. Maybe this is more fun if you watch it with friends, but it's horrible on your own.
This is